Good morning and welcome. It's a brand new week, the second week in the month of May, and it's your numero uno breakfast show. It's great to have you this morning. And of course, I want you and everyone around to see each day as an opportunity to build on the previous one.
Hello, good morning. Yes, it's Monday. Okay, I'm trying to sound royal. I'm trying to sound, because I was at the coronation, over the weekend, and it was just really, you know what, let's get to the show. There is some kind of pressure to, get started in a huff, but we're here to help you ease into it and make sure it's not such a tedious chore. Welcome to the show.
All right, sorry we started a few minutes late, but we are here for you to get it. So let's get straight into what we have this morning. It's going to be a wonderful morning. Remember, you can stream the show. It's live, TVC Entertainment.tv. We are on YouTube also, and then of course on terrestrial, it's UHF 49. Yeah. On GOTV, it's channel 16. My name is Mike Messikeno.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson, and we have another member of the royal family, Queen Mary, in the kitchen. Hi, darling.
Hello, Titi.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
We have quite a bit to do today.
Monday motivation, and we'll have the concept of Masterminding. Sheyi Jolayemi will be with us this morning.
Tilesh, a rapper, singer, and songwriter, is going to be joining us for a musical performance. He just dropped an EP titled Bonte et Mary Scode, I think that is. Goodness and Mercy, he calls it. Now, he claims to be the next big thing, and he has a great song coming your way.
Anthony Ezeko will be here, an author, self-taught digital artist, and creative entrepreneur whose artwork has been shown around exhibitions, of course. So we're going to have him on the show today. It's the news on Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Mike Messikeno. Now, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and Max Air confirmed that two of its aircraft tires burst on landing at the local wing of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja at about 2:50 p.m. yesterday. Spokesman of the airport, Kayode Adeyola, says 143 passengers were on board and an infant as well as 6 crew members, but there were no casualties. He says all those on board have been successfully evacuated from the aircraft and the aircraft has been removed from the runway. He, however, denied reports of any fire during the incident. Max Air, in a release posted on its Twitter handle, says the tires are now being replaced and the aircraft will be taxied to the ramp for further investigations before any release for future flights. The airline pledges commitment to ensuring safe and reliable travel. A fresh 834 Nigerians arrived in Abuja, the nation's capital, following the wake of evacuations by the federal government from war-torn Sudan. TVC reports that the figure consists of 102 Nigerians on board the Taco Airlines that departed Port Sudan and another 322 Nigerians on board the Asman Air from Aswan, Egypt, and 410 Nigerians on board Max Air. The figures make up the 5th batch of returnees to be successfully airlifted by the federal government from a North African country. In all, over 800 Nigerians fleeing war-torn Sudan arrived at Abuja on Sunday. They were airlifted via Max Air, Asman, and Taco. On ground to receive them at the airport were officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, as well as security officials. Now on to foreign news. Russian officials have triggered what is being called a mad panic after evacuating a town near Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Governor of the partially occupied Zaporizhia region, Yevgeny Balitsky, ordered civilians from 18 settlements to leave the area, including Enehoda, where most of the power station staff live. The plant is near the front lines of fighting, and Ukrainian authorities said that on Sunday, a 72-year-old woman was killed and 3 other people injured when Russian forces fired more than 30 shells at Nikopol, a Ukrainian town nearby. Russia's evacuation has since prompted an announcement from the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog, who expressed growing concern about the safety of the Zaporizhia power station. We'll take a recess and return with more on show.
Hey. Yes, and we're back in the kitchen, and it's time for us to have our What's Up and About conversation.
Yeah. Earlier, we didn't get to talk about what happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
So yesterday was my man's birthday.
Aww.
It's super special. I just want to give a shout out to him, Anthony Ashiwe That's Anthony Azuna Ashiwe. I love you so much.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you for being so amazing.
Happy birthday.
We called his name.
Happy birthday.
You're surprised.
Wow.
I
I'm not
probably wouldn't
surprised.
till next year.
I'm blown away. Like, surprise is an understatement. But yes, happy birthday.
Yeah.
May 7th, right? I think I know a number of people. There were I saw like 3-4 people on my timeline and all of that. And happy birthday.
Yes, sir.
All of them. For me, I was just, for me, of course, Saturday was work. And Sunday, I had 1 or 2 visitors. But the one that really got to me was I feel like I wanted to hail the pilot that crash landed that Max aircraft.
Okay.
And kudos. I mean, it could have gone south. So I think these kind of issues, when things happen like this, we should give kudos to them. They've done quite well. Yeah. I remember, I think a story was of Kiyosaki when he said when they were learning how to fly, that they had to practice crash landing. So this was good. There were no casualties.
Thankfully.
You know, the tire burst, and it was good, thankfully.
Yeah.
So that made my weekend.
So over the weekend for me, I was basically on a WhatsApp call with my mom. She was at home, and I was in my house, and we were both in front of our TVs watching the coronation.
Oh, so the conversation was centered around the coronation.
We were on the phone throughout watching history happen.
You guys lived in England for a while, so it's understandable that you'd be really interested in that.
Well, funny enough, it is a significant point in history for quite a lot of people, especially those who believe that they lived to a time where they could see it happen. The last coronation that happened in the UK was in 1953.
Way before most of us were born.
Exactly. So for it to happen, it happened in a time of technology, broadcasting, and everything being a lot larger than life, and we were able to see everything from when they left Buckingham
on a
Palace
lighter
all
note,
the way. Yeah.
When you said that technology,
I
don't know, Mike, do you remember this voice that used to record almost everything? I think a BBC voice. And then the coronation is going on.
Yeah,
do you remember that voice on black and white TV back then?
That's my catapult.
I just only remember the voice.
That's how it was. They used to narrate it, and I think there was a narrator again,
For me,
But I wanted to talk a little bit about how much the crown jewels are actually worth. Apparently the crown jewels, that scepter that he was holding, the one on there, everything about $6 billion.
Where are those jewels from? That's the question.
That's
why I don't care about the worth. Where are they from?
So there are actually many places they are from.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the one on the throne, there was one before it was returned to Scotland.
Okay.
Was actually seized from Scotland.
It was
Yes,
what?
at some point. It's called the Stone of Destiny.
That's not the S word you want to use.
Well,
I think there's another S word you want to use.
stolen.
Oh, ha! You got it.
No, it was seized. It was after a war, but it was given back in 1992 or thereabouts. So, why are you going down?
So
Are you
we're
trying
talking about so many jewels. Like, I'm talking about 333 diamonds, 31 rubies, 15 emeralds, 7 sapphires, and the Great Star of Africa. That's the biggest diamond known to man right now.
How did it get there? Why? The reason why I and a lot of people are not excited is that when they see that thing, they see atrocities, they see stealing, they see looting, and like you said, it's from everywhere. Which of those diamonds and jewels are theirs?
Okay, for me,
the biggest one for me had to be. I didn't watch it live, but just later on this morning, I saw Tiwa Savage's performance, and this is the reason. As an aficionado of classical music, I loved the array, the way the eclectic mix of classical and Afrobeat. I saw a talking drum, a cello, and
experiencing Tiwa Savage as a performer.
It was
amazing.
in spite of my reservations about everything, but that was a goosebump moment for me.
Yeah.
Because music is a universal language.
Yeah.
Almost like what they say about football. You don't need to talk.
Yes.
You can hear salsa music and move.
Sure.
So
you don't have to be understood.
Afrobeat as it is, as it's taken. So when I saw, you need to see the royal band, as it were, and then the talking drum.
It was amazing.
It came together.
Oh gosh, as you
The
say,
name of the song,
Keys
to the Kingdom, very apt.
So I was wondering when I heard the performance rosters, why Tiwa Savage? When I heard the song she performed, now I understood why Tiwa Savage. So the mix was I heard it. I just played the intro over and over again. I would listen to that intro. That was beautiful.
So I watched the entire affair because beyond the procession, even the coronation itself in the cathedral and everything, because I was on radio at that time, so we had our TV tuned into it. And I'm going to admit that I found it really captivating. I saw some things online, like people saying that the reason the Queen consort was doing like this was because Diana was
pressing her head.
I was like, Nigerians. Really? There
side chick was trending.
Side chick,
side chick was trending.
And the Side Chick Association also released a video
guys.
saying that, look, man, you never know. Just keep on side chicking.
Wow.
You might just get the top spot.
What
Yes,
do you call it?
trending.
Side chick association.
Yeah, Side Chick Association. They were, you just keep on side chicking. And that's the reason why a lot of people, or some set of people, had reservations, of course. They didn't like the idea that.
They were protesters.
You know,
They were protesters.
they were arrested.
People being
Not my
arrested.
king.
But for me, the highlight was when the king himself said, "This is boring."
Wow.
Yes, a lot of a procession. And because it is traditional and all of that, a lot of the
It has to be
procession,
done.
look at like, oh, this is boring.
Now,
He
you
actually
mentioned
did say
something
it.
just now. Tradition.
Yes.
So locally, we tend to ignore certain things that are our tradition. We look at it as archaic, as unnecessary, irrelevant. This is modern times. And then you watch people who are still following the tradition. Like the Queen's funeral, where 142 sailors had to, tow the casket. And there's a story behind it. Do you know the story behind it? No. Even locally, do you know the story behind so many things that
They
happen?
know the story more of that one.
Of that one, than even the
Let me
things
tell you.
happening here. And that's
The
the
Agongo
problem.
Fishing Festival, the Eyo Festival.
all of them.
There's quite a lot. I grew up in South, New Yam Festival.
Yeah.
In the South, I remember then when masquerades come out to perform. You understand? It was beautiful for us because these were things that represent us. You might want to, this will take us into a lot of things, but you have to understand that, yes, the roots, what tie people to who they are, when they are being celebrated, it is something worth.
And I detest the fact that when people are talking about their traditions and how passionate they are about it, there are certain people who go, oh, please, we are beyond that, it's in the past. Listen, it was not in the past when it was happening over the weekend. If you like, sleep on your own tradition.
Yeah.
A person without culture or tradition is a nobody.
So there was a goat. There was a goat.
They play song
that
for you.
was there.
Which goat?
There was a goat. There was a royal goat.
They should have cut him as soon. That goat to be sweet.
Please, at this point, we have to take a break because I don't know where Mike is carrying us go.
Wow.
Let's take this break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria.
All right, guys. We're just trying to, make sure we have all the papers lined up the right way. Welcome back. It's time for us to take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the dailies this morning.
Yeah, but it is. Titi, you want to start with the punch?
Yes,
Okay.
of course, we have a guest with us.
Yes. Oh, yes, we do. We're almost thinking that we're the ones that are doing this. Great to have you, sir. You are welcome.
Yes.
Great to have us.
We do this Monday morning.
All right, sir.
Welcome
Okay, so
back.
let's go for the punch.
Yes, let's start with this headline. It says here, asset declaration. The Code of Conduct Bureau tells Tinubu others to submit forms before May 29th. Asset declaration is ongoing in 36 states. And it says here, no swearing in without form submission.
Yes, it's always normal anywhere over the world that when you want to assume leadership positions, especially when it has to do with public offices, you got to let the people you are going to lead to know what's your worth before coming in, so that at the end of the day, when you are leaving, they want to compare it. And this is in a way to sort of curb dipping hands into the commonwealth of the people. So it's normal. It's not only Tinubu, it's all the elected political office holders that are supposed to do that.
It does feel like it's happened year after year, whenever there's an election year. But do you think it's been effective?
Yeah, that's another angle to it. To what extent have we been following it up? I can remember the case between the CCB chairman then and Olushola Saraki when he was the president of the Senate. At the end of the day, even the CCB chairman was alleged of 10 million naira. And what has happened? Look at so many other corruption cases that we have heard of in this country. What has happened to it? You remember the issue of Stop the Mic, the NDDC thing. You remember the case of Snake swallowing how many billions of naira, and all that. Even the former chairman of EFCC. You know, so it has not been working. But then it's just like, let's just fulfill our righteousness.
Okay. Hopefully, this time our president-elect said that fighting corruption is one of his major, points of what he's going to do. So hopefully, we hope that this time around, that will happen. So let's move on to the Guardian here. The one that interests me, I spoke about this weekend, was a major highlight for me because a tragedy was averted. This was a very big one, and flight disruption in Abuja as Air Max. That's just above that headline there, as Air Max, Max Air loses landing wheel. A major tragedy was averted. Kudos to the pilot, because that would take some skills. Because, I mean, there are 2 tires, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking about it. A lot could have gone wrong and all of that. Who causes? Let's look at the causes. How can we avert something like this not happening again? And then also, how is it that that tragedy was averted?
Yeah, you see, in aviation, it's just like in other transport sector. There is no way you can operate it without incidents and accidents. They are 2 different things. Okay, but because of time, I won't be able to explain on those. But then, like what we call incidents and accidents. That of yesterday was an accident because it affected the carrier itself. That is the airplane. Because you could see fire burning. But the thing is this: how was he able to be managed? For me, because the former president of NMA, I learned, was inside our aircraft. And I think when I was listening to TVC News 10 o'clock yesterday, your correspondent also alluded to that fact, that she even interviewed him, okay? And that man said they had the tire burst while leaving.
Just after takeoff from Yola?
After takeoff. Wow. If I were the pilot, when you see that, all you need to do is to turn back. Because anything can happen
midway.
Yeah. Anything can happen. But peradventure again, maybe he had seen from his own experience that, okay, with this, all I need to do is fly to Abuja, but before getting to Abuja, alert the rescue.
Which is what they said.
Rescue and response. Because I could also see the fire service operators.
They already stand by.
They were ready.
The question was to ask is, it happened after takeoff. So looking at risk ratio here, maybe he might have been thinking that it's the same thing turning and landing back, because I'll be landing without the landing gear. It's the same thing, I'll go there.
And that's why
maybe that airport is more suited to even handle this than where I'm coming from.
And that's why I said, from his experience,
yes.
I'm not a pilot.
Yes.
I never piloted an aircraft before. I'm just an aviation safety expert. So I'm talking from my own perspective. That if I were, perhaps, and I now said, maybe due to his own experience and training, he had seen that, okay, flying this into Abuja will be one, more safe than turning back. But then, thank God, he has he alerted the rescue operation to be at alert, which is the most important. The rescue operation to be at alert before landing.
We also, let's take a quick look at the Vanguard headline. Top left, the Vanguard speaks on Ekweremadu, which was also a very significant thing that happened just before the weekend began. Gregory Varsity proprietor seeks King Charles intervention. That's what the headline says. And for those that are probably not as aware, there was a sentencing that happened I believe it was on Friday. And a lot of videos.
You see, much as I empathize with Ekweremadu, Because in my area, they will say, Oro Molushi. That is, it was because of his daughter that is now going through these travails. Okay? But my question is, do we know how many people that the actions and inactions of Ekweremadu, while being the Deputy Senate, had sent to early grave to? Because as the Senate Vice President, there are lots you could do to ensure that our health sector is improved. And peradventure, it wouldn't have traveled to UK to go and do that kind of surgery. Imagine if our health sector had been fortified through his efforts and others, and he decided to do that in Nigeria. Do you think anybody will have raised eyebrow? Even if eyebrows are being raised, do you think we will have been jailed?
The system is different when it comes to donations and all of that, and
different.
Donor list, because I know that these things have donor lists, and people will tell you that, look, okay, so it differs in different places. He probably could have gotten a donor here easier than getting
I even
over
had
there.
an allegation against him that when some amount of money was to be spent in developing a particular teaching hospital, there are some mago he did along the line. I mean, it's an allegation. So what I'm saying is, as much as a human being, I want to empathize with him. But then we shouldn't be subjective in this issue. Let's look at it point blank, so as to serve as a deterrent. Look, even the other service chief, the other military officer that was killed by all these miscreants along the Kaduna Abuja road the other time. Had it been that these guys had improved on our security, will that have happened to him? These are issues that we need to consider.
We need to focus
and to be a very good lesson to those coming behind them.
We have to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Dare, for coming to speak and on a lot of these issues and giving us a different perspective.
Yes, we really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure being with you today.
Okay, let's head over to the kitchen, and we hope that there will be no incident or accident while Mary is performing her duties there. Oh, no, Mary, the chef. More important than you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mike. Now, having spoken to our heads, it's time for us to speak to our bellies. And breakfast today will be served by Chef Biba of Biba Street.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Good to have you in the studio with us.
Same here.
Yes, it's our first time, but she's doing quite well for her first time. So, hey, welcome on board.
Thank you.
What have we having for breakfast?
So we'll be having red velvet cake, and I'll be covering with whipped cream.
Okay, so red velvet cake, and of course we'll be covering it with whipped cream.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the ingredients. Let's start with the red velvet cake. What do we need to have?
Okay, to prepare a red velvet cake, you'll be needing your flour.
How much flour is this?
This is 2.5 cups of
2.5
flour.
cups, okay.
Yes. Then you'll be having your sugar.
Okay.
Buttermilk.
Okay.
Buttermilk comprises of the milk and vinegar. So this buttermilk, for this recipe, we'll be using 1 cup of buttermilk and 1 tablespoon of vinegar.
Okay, you didn't tell us how much sugar this is.
Sugar is going to be 1.5 cup as well.
Okay.
Then I'm going to be using vegetable oil of 1.5 cups.
Okay.
We are going to be using 2 eggs.
Okay.
This is my flavor. This is a strawberry cheese flavor because I'm making a red velvet cake.
Strawberry cheese or red velvet?
Yeah, we also use strawberry, but I think this is my secret flavor. So
that for our customers, now you guys know why a red velvet is different. It's the strawberry cheese.
Yeah.
And
so I use my cake syrup.
Okay.
Inside my flour,
I
have my baking powder.
Yeah.
Baking soda, that's 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
Okay.
I have my cocoa powder, which is 1 tablespoon. Then my red food coloring, 1 teaspoon as well.
Do you have coffee in there? Because I know coffee, chocolates usually work together.
Actually, for my red velvet, I don't use coffee.
You don't use coffee?
But since I'm making a chocolate cake, I'm going to be using coffee as well for this, to give it this chocolate moisture. So.
All right, so let's talk about what we're going to be covering it with.
So we are going to be covering it with our whipped cream.
Okay.
So this I'm going to be
making use of whipped cream. Okay.
Yes.
Then what else are we making use of?
It's just whipped cream and cold water, actually.
Whipped cream and cold water.
Yeah.
So what do we have? This flour, sugar.
So this is for a chocolate cake.
Ah.
This is sugar. This is 3 cups of sugar.
Okay.
I'm going to be using 4 eggs.
Okay.
Then, of course, my secret cake flavor, chocolate cake flavor.
I wanted to tell you what it was. Chocolate flavor. Chocolate flavor.
Yeah, it's a secret flavor.
Okay.
So in here I have my baking powder,
Okay.
baking soda,
Okay.
and that's all.
We have our cakes ready. You know, I told you that I was going to perform magic. So here is the abracadabra. Seriously though, we have our chocolate cake here, and we have our red velvet cake. I know normally we would level it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to do that.
Yeah,
with
to
the
this
other
one,
But
yeah.
this is level enough. So sometimes you might not need to level your cake because it's already having a flat top. Lucky you. It doesn't always happen. So in such
Not
cases,
every time.
you need to level it. Okay, so we have stuff we're going to be using to decorate the cake. So we piped the bag. That's what she's doing now, trying to make designs of it. So run us through how you got the whipped cream ready again.
Okay, so this is a whipped cream.
Okay.
I used whipped cream powder, 300 grams
Okay.
to 1.5 cups of extremely cold water to achieve this.
Some people say iced water.
Extremely
work?
cold. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Because if you don't use cold water,
It will stiffen.
it won't stiffen. It's just going to be drying like water. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
And of course, no secret recipe here. So
Our chefs and their secret recipes. Don't worry, we're used to it. We know that's the secret to the success of your business.
yes.
It's all good. It's all good. So when we finish piping this, we're going to lay the red velvet on it.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So is it allowed to play around with your piping? Like, can I put sprinkles already or put fruits in between?
Yes.
Does it work that way?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
you
does.
can?
We can actually. I have some here that I'm going to be putting once I'm done
Okay.
piping on this.
Okay.
And our piping techniques at times, like this one I'm doing, it looks more like a rose.
Yeah.
You can play around it and
And do other
do
stuff.
other stuffs
Okay.
in between.
All right, so let's check out the ingredients again, okay? What we're making use of first to bake our cake, because that's what we did first. We baked our chocolate and red velvet cake. And then, yes, the red velvet cake, exotic, I should emphasize that.
Yes,
exotic chocolate cake. And of course, now we're putting
Trying
it
to
together.
trim it.
Yes. So that's what I said about leveling it. Please go ahead. So you level it using that.
Yeah, just this is a trimming knife.
Yeah.
It's extremely sharp, so you don't want to even play around.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
So when you level it, it lets your cake stay balanced and gives it a nice shape.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you can see, this one also has a very flat top. So that helps a lot. So are you going to cut this off or you're going to leave it like that?
It
Because I know
depends,
most chefs
because
leave the...
this is super moist. If it was very hard,
you
I would have,
to cut it off.
yeah,
Okay.
I would have to do that. So
All right, so...
I'm just going to be,
All right, so we're going to get on with our
Piping.
piping. Finish decorating the cake. We have some stuff here to use to decorate. This feels like rattles. Oh.
it's actually edible,
Yes.
so you can eat it.
You got a piece of the cake, y'all. Yeah. So here's me pretending to be Tiwa Savage for 1 minute of fame. Oh. Okay, so there we go. The piping is all done. And then we'll finish up with decorating the cake. If you want to see the end results, make sure you stick around, okay? Of course, our last guest will be telling us just how creamy and delicious this cake is. So I can work with flavors as well. I can put chocolate in it, right?
Yes, I can decide to change the color of this whipped cream as well.
Okay, okay. That's cool. At this point, we've come to the end of the first hour on Wake Up Nigeria this morning. We're not done yet, though. We still have 45 minutes on the other side of the hour. So just stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.
I'm getting quite a bit distracted here.
why
Instead of me focusing on the camera,
Good.
there's something beautiful going on in the kitchen. What's that process called, Titi?
Well, there is some amazing, well, they're covering it with icing.
Okay, icing. So that's
gonna say,
the process
yeah,
is icing, the icing
yeah.
process.
Yes,
Because-
the icing
Mike,
the cake.
let me tell you something. This morning, there's going to be a battle, and it's survival of the fittest.
Wow.
So, you know, she shaved the red velvet.
Okay.
So I had a taste of it. Shavings. My God. I'm not saying this because she's here, but I dare say that this is the best I've tasted in this.
Wow.
There's something about the taste of the red velvet. It just
Please, can we
hits
see
your
the chef's
taste
video
buds.
smile?
Yeah.
She's blushing.
It really is amazing. I'm not exaggerating.
So
it
I
really
know-
is amazing. Wow.
I know that Mike is a big fan of red velvet.
Oh, yes, I
Mike
actually
has a
am.
specific red velvet cake
Yes,
he
I
buys
do.
regularly.
Yeah.
I do. And I found out that a number of people that do red velvet, it's just red coloring.
Yes,
Yeah.
most people can't.
So this
A
is
lot
a
of people.
different type
So you
of
understand that, right?
Right.
They just put red color, especially most of those cupcakes. They say,
Yeah.
oh, red velvet. But I tasted it and I'm like, okay, this is just whatever and red color.
cake. Oh, well,
It doesn't.
this
it-
is probably going to be different, Mike.
Yes,
It's
I
going to
mean,
be different.
It is.
I trust Mary's judgment.
Yes, so.
I
Because
trust
you know
Mary's
I don't even
judgment.
give people free compliments. But this
Okay.
one was amazing. I'm wondering what the chocolate tastes like. Can't wait for the show to end so I can dig into that. But the red velvet, amazing.
All right, well, just in case you were wondering, my name is Titilayo Oyinson.
Mike Mesikeno is mine. You can watch the show. It's live on GOTV if you're watching. Then that
Yeah.
means it's channel 16. And then, of course, on the terrestrial band, ultra high frequency is 49.
We also have the app available for download for both iOS and Android, and it allows you watch us from anywhere in the world at your convenience.
Okay, we have Monday motivation and we have the concept of masterminding. That's the topic today. Sheyi Jolayemi will be the one handling that topic for us today.
Tilesh is a rapper, singer, and songwriter. He's going to be joining us in a little while.
And then, of course, we have SME, and our SME this morning will be Anthony Ezeko, an author, self-taught digital artist, and creative entrepreneur.
All right.
So, I know something was trending over the weekend, but
Yeah, of
I don't know. I feel like my details are a bit sketchy. I don't know if you guys can fill me in. What happened between Usher and Chris Brown?
Prior to this time, Usher has been doing some interviews where he has been, in quotes, giving Chris Brown his flowers.
Yeah.
Usher has, I mean, when it first started when I saw this post about if Usher was to perform at the halftime, the Super Bowl
Yes.
Yeah.
performance. I was like, there are only very few artists, maybe not up to 3, that have a bigger catalog than
Yeah,
Usher.
Usher. Like,
Come on,
Usher.
Usher will kill it. There's only one stage performer better.
Yeah.
And that's talking about MJ.
Yeah.
He's at that level.
Yeah.
You know. So, but then he had this concert, Family and Friends. I think that was what it was
Yeah.
called. There were OGs there. Ludacris was there. Lil Kim and all that. Chris Brown was there. But then we had talk of an altercation. Chris Brown was also celebrating his birthday before he performed. Although he still got to perform,
Yeah.
we don't know exactly what happened. But then there has been talk that Chris Brown was maybe intoxicated or inebriated and all of that, and and actually hit Usher. I'm not sure how that one works, but
He
you
hit
know,
his older brother.
you know,
It's not
but-
this is uncle.
but you know,
this is not
yes,
older brother.
because that's the thing
This
that
is
gets to,
uncle.
yeah, exactly, because Usher has always been magnanimous with praise for Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Which I feel like at times is overdoing it. Chris Brown no reach you.
He goes, Chris Brown is excellent. He's a great performer. He's got great
You know.
vocals.
Yeah, but I think Chris Brown was one of those people that grew up watching Usher
Yeah.
and wanted to be like him.
Yeah.
And I think he sees like a little brother in him. Usher sees a little brother in him.
True.
But I feel like what could have gone down, because I've seen Usher in action when he's coaching younger talent. I've seen him on these reality shows where he coaches younger talent, and he is very uncool-like. He's very, very firm, very affirmative. And I know that he would have probably tried to put Chris in his place and like, okay, what's doing you?
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably something that happened, and Chris probably lashed out against.
Whatever the case may be, though, let's hope it's not a Pep Guardiola case.
Wow.
Why?
Okay.
Didn't you hear about Pep Guardiola?
Eh,
There are many
And
things.
his
So,
players'
which one?
alleged girlfriend.
Oh,
come on now.
So maybe that's what happened.
I don't think it would be
maybe
a woman
somebody
issue.
Chris Brown liked. Yeah.
So now we heard years ago when Chris got into issues with Rihanna.
Rihanna, yeah.
And it was about some sort of physical abuse.
yes, it's
This time it's Diana Taylor.
So it does have a similar, there's similar
Undertone.
rumors going around about Tiana Taylor and Chris having some kind of situation going on, and Usher stepping in.
Oh, so now it's becoming clearer. I said I
But
don't
these
know
are all
this
rumors.
story.
We don't know what exactly happened.
But my point is, I would always say that no, I don't know if there's anybody. I'm thinking of which artist today can hold a candle, a stick, or a matches, or even a
Usher.
toothpick to Usher, as it
Hey,
were. I mean,
Odindi Usher.
yeah, this is not just somebody. If there was one thing that stood out for me, for like I mentioned about the coronation, was the concert.
Yeah.
This is not just an artist; this is a performer.
Yeah.
You know, when you say performer, if Usher was to hold a concert,
Yeah.
Of course.
he will hold you spellbound.
Don't you remember during the lockdown?
You know,
the
he will hold you
Versus.
spellbound. He would. These are people that will not just play. With all due respect to everybody who plays,
Yeah.
who plays from DJ,
Yes.
who sing concert like that.
But
But
nah.
man, you know what it means
To perform.
to perform. So for me, this is all about giving Usher
His
much more
And
flowers.
his voice is still as good as ever. Have you guys listened to
Than
Guru?
ever.
His newest song?
Good morning, it's the news once again on Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Mike Messi-Keno. We kick off from the nation's capital, where the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria and Max Air confirmed that its aircraft tires burst on landing at the local wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja at about 2:50 p.m. Sunday. Yesterday, spokesman of the airport, Kayode Adeola, says 143 passengers were on board and an infant, as well as 6 crew members, but there were no casualties. He says all those on board were successfully evacuated from the aircraft and the aircraft removed from the runway. He, however, denied reports of any fire during the incident. Max Air, in a release posted on its Twitter handle, says the tires are now being replaced and the aircraft taxied to the ramp for further investigations before any release for future flights. The airline pledges commitment to ensuring safe and reliable travel. This was released just after the incident. Now, 834 Nigerians arrived in Abuja, the nation's capital, following the wake of evacuations by the federal government from war-torn Sudan. TVC reports that the figure of 102 Nigerians on board Taco Airlines that departed Port Sudan and another 323 Nigerians aboard Asman Air from Aswan, Egypt, and 410 Nigerians aboard Max Air. The figures make up the 5th batch of returnees to be successfully airlifted by the federal government from the North African country. In all, over 800 Nigerians fleeing war-torn Sudan arrived Abuja on Sunday. They were airlifted via Max, Asman, and Taco Airlines. On ground to receive them at the airport were officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, as well as security officials. And then on to foreign news, where Russian officials have triggered what is being called a mad panic after evacuating a town near Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Governor of the partially occupied Zaporizhia province, Yevgeny Balitsky, ordered civilians from 18 settlements to leave the area, including Neroda, where most of the power station staff live. The plant is near the front lines of fighting, and Ukrainian authorities said on Sunday that a 72-year-old woman was killed and 3 other people injured, while Russian forces fired more than 30 shells at Nikopol, a Ukrainian-held town nearby. Russia's evacuation has since prompted an announcement from the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog, who expressed growing concern about the safety of the Zaporizhia power plant. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's quite a bit more to come on the show.
Masterminding. When I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, what is this about? Well, it's time for some Monday motivation, and joining us today to discuss the concept of masterminding is Seyi Jolayemi, fondly called SDJ. She is an effective brand communication expert with over 12 years of experience. It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us today.
Thank you so much, Mary. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
So, SDJ, tell us about the concept of masterminding.
Okay, so I think that quite a number of people around here don't know what masterminding is exactly. What we are used to is the idea of mentorship and coaching, which are also as effective in their own right. However, there's a level where you need to go more than just coaching to get into the place where you get involved in a mastermind group, and then you're able to achieve much more with your business or with the idea that you are working with or the idea that you are already executed. So for the, new ideas, for the things that you just have on your mind that you've not necessarily launched, you might probably want to talk to a mentor who is already doing it. or you want to get a coach who can help you from where you are to where you want to be in that idea. But then when it comes to the concept of masterminding, you have to be running it already. And in the concept of masterminding, you have to have an idea, you have to have a structure that you're working with, you have to, at least for some time, be making earnings, be billing, and you have customers, clients who are already trusting you.
It's kind of like the streets way of saying mastermind. Oh, that's the mastermind. So the person, of course, is taking advantage of already available resources.
Yes.
So that's the concept of masterminding. You must have a structure. So that's what differs it from mentorship per se.
And coaching, yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
So for masterminding, you are also, to a certain extent, a master in your own game.
Absolutely.
So you come together with other people who are doing things, in their own field. They don't have to be from your industry. They don't have to be your age mate. They don't have to be your race. You don't have to even know them before. You can actually just read up a bio and know, okay, this is what someone has been doing. This person will have value to offer me in this scaling that I want to do in my business. And then a group of people come together. So for coaching, of course, you expect to speak to your coach and get that direction on what to do. But for masterminding, you're both giving and receiving from the group.
Exchange of ideas.
Absolutely.
Because you're both, in quotes, masters.
Masters in what you're doing, yes.
So mastermind. Ah, okay.
Yeah, okay, so more like the coming together of minds that are already masters in something, at least.
Okay, so how do you exploit it? So you have a structure, you want to grow your business or you want to grow yourself. How do you exploit this masterminding concept? Okay,
so you can't actually mastermind on your own. That's crucial. So you need to have a group of people, and it's usually better if there are not more than 10 people, because then by the time you have such a crowd, you might not be able to exploit all that is required. So everybody comes to say, oh, this is where I'm in my business and this is what I'm trying to do. And we all gather together, all of us in the mastermind group, and then we speak to different areas of need that we have. Or sometimes you don't even know the need, but you just know what you want to achieve. And then someone right there in the group that has probably done it before, or has an idea of how you can do it, or has a contact that they can give to you on how you can do it, also give, while you're also willing to step in, maybe as a business owner or MD CEO in your own right, and then you want to speak to their own need as well, and everybody helps to achieve the goal of everyone.
This actually sounds like a master, like a network of, people networking in master's class. And so you ask yourself, is that probably the brain behind all these master classes, going to business schools where people with like minds or people who can help you achieve your goals,
absolutely.
you can meet them there?
Absolutely. So we can say that the courses actually leverage on the idea of the mastermind. So you can actually have a mastermind group without going for a course. So you pick up people, you link up people, you get in touch with them. You don't have to know them before. And sometimes you can find them in the group of friends already, and then you invite more people to join you for a period of time to have that done, and then every other person moves on.
How do you achieve this? I ask this because so many people have probably, they have the structure, they've gone through the mentorship phase, now they want to grow themselves, but they don't quite know how to go about it. Could you hold them by the hand?
Okay, so you have to look within your own circle, or, check whether there is a mastermind group happening around you, and, request to be part of it. Of course, they will want to check what you have, what you can bring to the table, because it's going to be an exchange of ideas. And no one wants to feel like, oh, I'm the one giving in this group. I also want to know that when I come I'm going to be getting something. So more or less, you might want to stay within those who are around your range. If you're a small business owner, for example, you might want to have a mastermind group of small business owners.
Okay.
If you want to go to bigger business, 500 companies, that you might probably not have what they want, so they won't get into a mastermind group with you. So you have to check your network, and then of course step a bit outside of it for someone who is already in need of scaling their own businesses as well, and see whether or not you can be part of their mastermind group, or they are interested, because it's not everybody that is in a mastermind group. So it's something that you can run yourself. You don't necessarily need to be under a specific registered umbrella or something. Just agreement between responsible people.
Now, in joining a mastermind group, what should you look out for? Because it's one thing to have people who tick many of the boxes, but what are the major boxes that ought to be ticked that you should not overlook?
Okay, I don't think you should overlook the how well the businesses of the people who you are with are running. So if you're going to want to scale your own business, you want to be with people who are either trying to scale or who have already scaled. So sometimes many of us might want to look at character, and all of that. And if that is
Absolutely.
important for you, then you
wanna
have to look
for
at
that.
that. But if you're there for business and it's a business relationship, and both of us are looking to get in what will help us in the next phase of our business, you want to check their profile, you want to know what they're doing. You might also want to reach out to them ahead. You might not want to walk in blind into the mastermind group and find out that you want to be out, which will mean that you will now be bridging the contract of being in that group, because people might have joined that group because you're
Because
there
of
as
you,
well.
yeah.
So it's important to look at the people, what they stand for, and what they are doing currently with their own idea or business.
So values, business, net worth, so many things to
So
look
many
out for. So
things,
don't
yeah.
just walk into a mastermind class or a group without knowing these facts. Indeed, thank you so much for your time,
Thank you so much,
SDJs.
Mary.
We've had an interesting conversation.
Thank you very
and
much.
thank you as well for watching Wake Up Nigeria. We're far from done though. We're going to be bringing you a performance, but that will be right after this break. Just stay with us.
Okay, now this is one discussion I am very much invested and interested in, because I'll tell you why. We have one of the most versatile and forward-thinking artists in Nigeria, Anthony Ezeko. He's an author and a self-taught digital artist and creative entrepreneur whose artworks have been shown at exhibitions across Lagos, with his most recent project, Exclusive Black Edition, which was so unique it caught the attention of quite a number of people, including celebrities. It's great to have you, Anthony. You are welcome.
No, nice to be here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's great to talk to a Gen Z entrepreneur, right?
Gen Z, yeah, fair enough.
were you considering?
I always forget. I'm like, okay, yeah, true, Gen Z.
Why would you forget? Why would you forget?
Yeah, it's not something that I even think about like consciously.
Yeah, because I think business to Gen Z, as it were, is quite different from how a number of us grew, in business. Because you had to be serious, you had to be focused, you had to read. But now in these days, somebody is playing with toys, and just because the person is on YouTube, the person is making money, and the person is an entrepreneur and making serious money.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of seriousness and focus. Like for me,
Okay.
for instance, I'm up at like 7. We're working in the studio. We have like our interviews. We are doing our things, like our projects. So there's a lot of like hyper focus. In fact,
Whoa.
it's like it goes all around the clock.
All around the clock. Let's talk about how this started for you. You're quite young, so when did this entrepreneurial tendency kick off?
Oh, I feel like even from secondary school, I was always like doing little things, like always trying to find out, okay, how do we turn this amount of money I have now into like something more?
Okay.
We were like selling chicken in like school, like for our family days and all that in one sense. So I feel like that's always been part of it. With my work, like I started writing when I was 13.
Okay.
And that developed into like art when I was around 16 as well.
Writing when you were 13, I was reading when I was 13. I enjoyed reading. I never thought of writing, but what inspired that spark to write at that age?
I feel like the environment I was in as well, because I went to a school where like we were kind of encouraged to always try new things.
Oh, okay.
So in trying it, and of course with the internet, like when you're doing one thing, the odds are like there's going to be like 5 people who are also interested.
Okay.
So I feel like that momentum carried on, and it really helped me out.
Out and all of that. Okay, but now you've moved into artwork. How did you transfer this art and this talent now into making money?
I would say it took a while. Like I didn't really make any money for like the first couple of years, because the focus wasn't money. It was kind of having fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Like I'm waking up every day, and I have my strict schedule, like my regimen, and it's like that's what's propelling me. Then of course you get to the point where people are like, oh wow, this is so nice. Here's some money, like do this. And I feel like from then it just kind of started where, I do work, I get paid, invest that money back into like my craft to get better tools. And it just kept on going.
You sculpt also?
Yeah, so I sculpted it.
How did that one kick off for you also?
So that was like last year where I realized that, okay, I've been doing the writing thing, the digital painting thing, but then for me, if I'm not exploring and trying to find better ways to challenge myself, I get very bored and restless. So the sculpting, I was like, let me do something else. And how do I like also tell stories that I can't do with this particular medium? Because sculpting is a bit more technical.
It is.
So it was definitely like a huge step up.
Harder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I need to step up. So that's kind of what propelled that.
Right, but now there's what you call digital artistry, as it were. What exactly do you mean when people say digital artistry?
So digital art, I mean, there's a lot of like confusion in the public, especially with what digital art actually
Exactly,
is.
yeah.
For me, simply, it's really just art that you're making with digital mediums.
Okay.
So for me, I've never really like painted on like canvas. It's always just been, it started with my mouse.
Your mouse, exactly.
Computer, and then
Exactly.
now I have like a tablet. So really, that's all digital art is. It's like any other medium. There's nothing too like special about it.
Exactly.
I'm asthmatic, so even like oil paint, all that smells, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work for you.
So
Oh,
with digital
wonderful. So you can,
painting-
I like that because you can still pursue your passion in spite of whatever limitations.
Yeah,
might
exactly.
come
My
from-
studio is a very clean space. Like, there's
Yeah,
not too
it
much,
does-
and I like it. So it's definitely, I feel like it works for some people, it doesn't, and
It
it just really
doesn't.
do what works for you.
Okay, now let's get to the question I'm waiting to ask now.
Yeah.
Digital artistry and all that. Where does AI come into all of this? What is the future? 20, 30 years from now, will digital artists still be relevant? Would AI have taken that job away?
No, for sure. And I think it now goes back to what we would define art as.
Okay.
Art to me has always gone past, the technical ability. As in, you can teach anybody to draw a tree. Drawing a tree is nothing special. Being able to communicate, however, what it feels like when you saw that tree, that's where the art is, if that makes sense. So the art is not in the technical ability, it's kind of in the emotive ability that you're able to communicate.
Okay.
So with AI, it's kind of like, now the AI can do this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool. I don't feel threatened because I'm like, nobody still can communicate to anybody else what it's like to be me, what it's
be
like
you.
to see the world.
The way you are, exactly. So
AI
it's about
doesn't
being
have that.
unique.
Unique, because AI can draw the Mona Lisa, but nobody can tell you what it's like to be a Nigerian. Only a Nigerian can tell you that Nigerians are living through these times. So those unique experiences are still, and probably now even more relevant than before, because with AI, it's like saturating the internet with all these images that look cool but are empty.
That's the point. I like that. There's that thing that you see. You said empty. I've never used that word, but you can. There's that hollow. That thing. It like.
It's this thing. It's called Uncanny Valley. Your mind automatically can understand that something is weird here.
And I think maybe one other thing also is maybe because of its perfection in some ways. When you see something somebody else done, you could see something, okay, this is not, but you see this thing and it's almost
shiny, it's gleaming.
Yeah, it's all of that.
Your mind automatically, everybody can always tell when this is AI. Like, your body is telling that something is wrong.
Okay.
The same way your eyes, like, when you were like looking at a valley, you can immediately tell what's missing because your body is saying that this is.
So your
unnatural.
message will be that don't get threatened by AI. Uniqueness is what will push you in whatever you're
uniqueness has always been the thing. Like I said, everybody can draw or write. Like, these are not special abilities, they're technical, as in anybody can train to get them.
All right.
But then, for instance, it's like the Mona Lisa, for instance, is not special because it's a realistic portrait. It's special because it's communicating something about that time.
That time.
And that's exactly what all the artists have done, where it's like it goes past the technical ability.
Wonderful.
What AI is doing is just reducing the gap. Now, what's going to be able to happen is more people are going to be able to explore and find ways to communicate with what's in their minds.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about some business lessons that you could teach people. How important is it? Now there's passion and there's money.
Okay.
Someone will tell you that, look, hey, come on, I don't need to be passionate about something. It's all about the money, and so let me just get into make money and all that. But we know how far passion can take somebody. Passion has taken people past, the hustle and the beginning stage and all of that. How important is it, the place of passion in making money in business?
I would say that in particular when it comes to the creative industry, where like challenges come every day. You're facing, this didn't work out, this person has called you, said this, this one has fallen. Passion to me is the only thing that can get you through that. Because if you're doing it just for the money, you're not going to see the money at first. So you're going to be very frustrated.
Well, somebody will say that money is enough passion, by the way, but that means it's still passion.
Yeah, I've said that. Even when let's say you wanted to be an artist today, and you say, okay, I want to make money. For the first 5 to 10 years, you may not make anything at all. In fact, you're going to be losing money. Passion is the only thing that can actually get you through those years. So if there's no passion for it, it's going to feel like hell. It's going to feel like punishment. Even worse.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's Anthony, let's look at, you're quite at a young age. When you're 33, when you're 43, 53, what would you be doing?
Yeah.
What are we
Well,
seeing?
for sure. I feel like for me, it's really almost about institutionalizing.
Okay.
Trying to find a way to A, support younger artists who are coming up.
I like that.
B, be able to kind of take a step back in the next 10 years and be able to do other things as well. Because for me, I'm an author as well.
Okay.
Let's have a book published soon. I want to enter filmmaking.
Okay.
And it's also being able to understand that, okay, for me, I feel like my role here is to be able to show what can be done and then elevate the whole craft and be able to take a step back and do other things.
I like that.
Because for me, my skill has always been in that.
Anthony, this is the first time I'll be following you on social media. I will keep up to date with what you're doing.
Thanks,
I would love
man.
to see how this journey unfolds.
Great.
Well done. We have
Thank you
stuff for
very
you in the
much.
kitchen. We have
really?
breakfast.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind our cake. All right, this way.
Bless.
Right, that's okay, Mary, Titi, and of course our chef. I want to introduce you to this wonderful young man, inspiring Gen Z. You know,
Why is James?
no, because it's inspiring. Like because we tend to put Gen Z in that box that hey, these guys are not serious, and he's talking about focus,
Very serious.
about waking up and all of
There
that.
are.
So yes, they
I
are.
think the thing with
He's
you
one of
Gen
them.
Z is, I can't believe I said that.
What?
But I think the thing with you Gen Zs is that you just like soft life. But apart from that, they like making money as well. That's
Yes,
something
they
I've
do.
observed.
Yes, they
You
do.
like soft life, but you want to make
I think they also like cake, Mary.
They love cake.
They love cake.
Yes,
Yeah,
and we
cake is
can
nice.
see how much you love cake. So we're going to have Chef Biba of Biba Streets cut you a slice of red
cake.
velvet and chocolate ensemble. Oh,
I think my mouth just started watering.
and you see, I could not finish the
Goodness me.
God, you millennials, it's okay.
Wow.
It's okay. It's
I
okay.
don't understand. Which generation does this guy belong to?
I don't know.
We are baby boomers.
Because our baby boomer.
Might be
Really now.
All right.
Not that old.
That is a very big slice. But
Wow.
can you get?
Generous slice.
Okay. So,
Oh gosh,
that
it looks nice.
It does.
Look at how chocolatey that is.
All right.
Chocolatey chocolate.
Why do I have the first?
Yeah.
Because you're our guest.
Yes,
So
Fair
please,
enough. Okay, so let's try.
dig in.
Let's see.
Oh.
Smart.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really nice. Yeah.
The red velvet.
Yeah, I like
Did you the taste, the flavor?
It's
I had
good.
a bit of it earlier and I was like,
Mary, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's cool.
I can't explain how.
You should try it. I'm telling you, it's nice.
All right.
We
Well
are
done.
going to try it. Trust me, we're going to try it.
Thank you, Chef.
And we're going to have an amazing week. We're wishing you all a great week ahead. We started it the right way. And well, we have to appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time. Join us tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.